Hello, viewer. Today I'm going to cover the approach towards an integrated management system, how these integrated management system works, what are the different dynamics, and how you can combine your management systems into one so that you can manage that efficiently. So let me give you a brief about myself and then we'll get started. And in case you know me, you can skip the next 30 seconds to get right to the topic. This is Syed Arshad Hashmi from Core System Consultant. By profession, I'm an engineer with extensive experience as consultant, trainer, and auditor for many ISO standards, including information security, business continuity, energy, quality, environment, health, and safety management standards. I've done more than 3,000 mandates of trainings and audits, and I've worked on more than 150 consulting projects with major industrial sectors across the globe. So that was a brief about myself, and now let's get started. So, integrated management system. The standards that I've chosen to show the integration are the basic standards, which are 9001, 14,001, and 45,001. So, first, what is an integrated management system? If you look at it, the integration is about integrating multiple management system standards. So, for example, if you're having two ISO standards, any two, quality, environment, health and safety are the basic ones, but if you have may have others as well, like energy management, asset management, information security management, food safety management, any other ISO standards, and you want to have multiple certifications for your organizations, how you can combine those two or more than two standards to manage them efficiently and effectively. So combining those multiple management system, the term that is used is called integrated management system. In short, we use that term as IMS. So for this presentation, I'm using the basic ones, the quality, environment, health and safety. And in short, the integration or the IMS term is used as, for these three standards, is used as QHSE. So let me give you a brief about the quality, environment, and health and safety management, and then we'll dive into how to integrate these three management systems. So the basic is a quality management is the one that focuses on the quality of the product and services that you are offering. So, different elements of the management system, when they ensure that you are consistently following your processes to have a consistent output which meets the requirements of the end user or the end party, that is a quality management system. In comparison to that, the environment management system talks about the interaction of an industry with the environment. So, how the industry is managing, broadly speaking, their waste management and how they are impacting the environment and how they are conserving different resources. The different elements of the management system, when manage that part of the organization, that is called an environment management system. Whereas health and safety is about the well-being of your workforce. So how do you identify different hazards and risk within your organization, and how do you reduce the exposure of those risks to your workforce to make it a safe and healthy workplace for your workers? That is about health and safety management system. Now, the beauty of these things, or an integrated management system, I can tell you through an example of a work instruction, how an integrated management system, how a work instruction looks in an integrated management system. So let's suppose there's a worker. You can put all the quality, environment, and health and safety related activities or aspects into one work instruction for the worker. So you can combine all the three aspects within the documentation by writing one work instruction for the worker, and he or she can manage all of the three aspects as per the instructions from the management. So if there is a construction going on and if there's a construction worker, the quality aspects may talk about the output of those work that has been done, the adherence to the drawings and specifications that is supposed to be delivered, or the calibration of the measuring and test equipment so that we can ensure the accuracy in the output or the deliverables that is required. So we can cover the quality aspect in that instruction. Similarly, we can cover the health and safety aspect, that what are the personal protective equipments that the person need to use, what is the incident management process, or what is the different protocols regarding working at height or working in confined spaces that the person need to work upon. In a lot of health and safety aspects are with respect to the industry that you are in. So in order, if you are working at height, you need to wear safety harness, or you need to wear safety gloves or goggles depending upon the nature of work that you are doing. So we can cover all those health and safety aspects within that same work instruction. And we can also cover the environmental aspects by telling the workers how to manage the waste, the output, the debris out of that work that they are doing, how they are going to manage that um, waste out of that process, or how they can efficiently and effectively use their machinery to conserve the energy, or may not use it if the machinery is not in use, so they can put it off. So all these aspects can be covered in one work instruction. So this is one of the examples of how the integrated management system work when it comes to documenting the process and writing work instructions for the workforce. So taking the example of the quality and showing you pictorially how the system works and how the system looks like. If you look at a quality management system, which is basically focusing on the output and the deliverables, so the core operations or the core functions of an organization, this is the first set of systems that you establish in an organization. So, how the production will work, how the quality control will work, procurement or purchasing may work, warehouse, and the maintenance. And depending upon your industry, let's suppose if you belong to a service sector, you may call it system of operations, system of service provision, service delivery, logistical operations. So depending upon the nature of business that you are in, you can have different names for these systems. Some service organizations may not have a separate quality control department. So any counter verification mechanism that lies within your process, that serves basically as the quality control. So you do have the function, but you may not call that function as a quality control or highlight that as a separate department, but the function is very much there within the service delivery or within the service provision process flow. And then people may call purchasing a procurement, whatever the word that may be applicable. Warehouse is also called stores, is also called inventory in some organization. System of maintenance could be engineering, could be supply chains, whoever is responsible for the maintenance of the machinery and equipment. So these are the basic systems that lies in any organization, be that a manufacturing sector or be that a service sector. The first two systems that are provided in ISO 9001 to take care of these systems is called the system of monitoring and measurement, analysis and evaluation. So the first system that is provided by 9001 is how do you monitor the performance of all these systems, and in case there is a deviation, in case there is a non-conformity, then how do you take the corrective action on that. So that is the first system that is provided by the 9001 standard over your main core business operations. Then there are other systems, for example, the competence of the personnel, and how do you make them aware, how do you make them competent. Then there's a communication process. You need to define internal and external communication modes of communication, who will communicate on what, so that all needs to be defined. And then there's a system of calibration. You need to calibrate your measuring and test equipments, that to ensure the accuracy of your readings and all the measurements that you are taking through them. And then all the documents that you are creating within your within your management system, that needs to be controlled, and that needs to be retained in a consistent manner. So ISO provides you guidelines how to develop a process for controlling the documents and records that is being generated. Now, to check the performance of all these processes, there is one more element of the process provided by the 9001, that is called a system of management review. So that checks the performance in which the management is required to review the performance of all the processes that has been laid down as per the 9001 standard, and to check the if the all the systems are working properly and they are intact. They 9001 requires you to regularly, with defined intervals, do the internal auditing. And that internal auditing is the responsibility of the MR, which used to be called as management RAP in the previous standards. Now the management RAP term is not used, rather we use the term which is called custodian of the management system. So whoever is responsible, one person or group of people in some organization, those who are responsible, they need to make sure that they are doing on predefined intervals internal audits of their organization, followed by management review, and the whole system stays intact. So this is a possible hierarchy of systems or processes as required by 9001 standard. Now, following the same and showing the same pictorial view for my 14001, the environment management system. The first system that has been placed by 14001 talks about the aspect impact analysis, which is basically to find in your industry what are the aspects, like what type of waste that is coming out. Is it solid waste? Is it liquid waste? And how it is impacting the environment. So you need to do an aspect impact analysis of your organization, followed by you need to determine the legal requirements that may be applicable to your organization. Now, these legal requirements are all related to the environmental legal requirements, and there is an agency in US which is called EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. There are two type of legal requirements, or two type of agencies are there. One is federal EPA, other one is the state EPA as well. And state EPA are with different names as well. And in different states, there is also a municipality organization which has also their rules and regulations which may be applicable to an industry which you need to follow with respect to the environment. So you need to determine which are the legal requirements that may be applicable to your organization. You also need to set objectives, the environmental objectives, what you are trying to improve vis-a-vis your organizational environmental performance, and how you want to contribute to the environment, again from the organization standpoint. So you need to, as per the study of the aspect impact analysis, you need to define environmental controls. These environmental controls could be in terms of the waste management, could be in terms of energy conservation, how you are going to conserve the energy, could be in terms of the maintenance of the equipment, which ensure the best working of your machinery in order to optimize the use of the electricity or the power or the different utilities like gas even, that how possibly they can work in an efficient manner and conserve the energy best possible. So that is how we are going to define the operational control. It may also include the spill prevention and different other controls as well. And then they also require an emergency preparedness and response. Now, interestingly, and these elements, the legal requirement even and the emergency preparedness and response, they are also common in health and safety. The slide that is coming up in 45001, they're identical clauses, but focus on the health and safety laws and rules and regulations. And similarly, the emergency preparedness and response will focus on the emergency scenario related to health and safety. And lastly, they ask you to have a compliance evaluation mechanism, that whichever the legal requirements that are applicable, how you are complying periodically with those legal requirements, and how you are maintaining records for that. Now, again, the same theory applies as I explained to you in 9001 to monitor the performance of these core operations or core processes for environment management system. There is a system which is monitoring, measurement, analysis, and evaluation. How do you monitor the performance of these processes? And then, if there is a deviation, how do you take the corrective action? If there's any non-conformity, if there's any issue with these main processes, core processes, how do you take the corrective action path? Again, this is followed by the same processes as was required in 9001. You need to evaluate the competency, make people aware. Communication is all too important here because you are dealing with the legal bodies. A lot of communication takes place with the local EPA or the Fed EPA, depending upon your scenario, or the local municipality as well. So the communication process needs to be predefined. You need to maintain records of it. Calibration for those measuring and test equipments which are part of the environment management system. So you need to take care of that calibration, and you need to maintain records of those measuring and test equipments. Documented information is an identical clause, no change from the 9001. And even in the next coming up slide for 45001, you need to have a process for controlling all those documents and records that will be generated as a result of 14001 implementation. Lastly, management is required to review the performance, and then you are required to make sure that you are internally auditing the whole system. And again, same concept applies. The custodian of the management system, they are responsible, he or she or they are responsible to make sure that they are doing internal audit followed by a management review. Now, this is a possible hierarchy for a 14001 environment management system. Now, what I'm doing is that I'm keeping above the parentheses and on the right of the parentheses, as you can see, these are the two parentheses that I've used. I'm keeping this process, keeping this processes there, and I am replacing the core activities with 45,001 now. So in 45,001 health and safety management system, what you're required to do is to have a hazard identification and risk assessment, because the intent of this standard is to protect the workforce that is out there in the field working for the organization. So the first and foremost thing that you need to do is what are the hazards that poses a risk to the health and safety of the workforce which is working on the ground. Similarly, as you did in 14,001, you need to find out the legal requirement that may be applicable here. The legal body in US is called OSHA, Occupational Health and Safety Administration. So you need to find out the applicable laws. And as with the 14,001, here also there is a Fed OSHA and then there is a state OSHA. So you need to find out in which state you are located and how those or which laws are applicable, health and safety related laws are applicable to your particular organization. Then you need to set the health and safety objectives. Similarly, as a result of this study, you come up with a lot of controls. The controls may include working at height, hot work permit, cold work permit, log out, tag out procedures, you're working on the usage of the PPEs, safety harness, and other controls throughout your organization. So you can come up with a lot of level of controls which you need to implement within your organization. And then emergency preparedness and response. Now, as I told you in the previous slide, for 14,001, this is an identical clause. It is also present in 14,001. So you normally prepare one emergency preparedness and response plan, which is called EHS plan, and that will do the thing for both the standards. Similarly, you need to have legal evaluation. When you are implementing those legal requirements, you need to evaluate the compliance to the legal requirements. And there is an interesting feature in specific to 45,001, which is called consultation and participation of the workers. Now, this is a very specific clause, which is called 5.4, which is not present in 9,000 and 14,001. So I've specified it here that since the system is all based on the workforce, it is about the workforce. So their involvement in establishing the health and safety management system is very, very important. And 45,001 specifically talks about this particular clause and make it part of the whole management system that they need to be consulted. They need to participate in the establishment of the management system. Now, this is a possible hierarchy for a 45,001 systems, and the rest of the theory, rest of the phenomena stays the same as I explained to you for the previous two standards. So, again, if I keep the systems above the parenthesis and on the right of the parenthesis same, and I remove the core systems with the production and quality control, broadly speaking, the operation system maybe for the service sector, for 9001 as required by 9001. And then the aspect impact analysis is the core system for 14,001, which I explained you in the previous slides. And then hazard identification and risk assessment for the 45,001. This and the rest of the phenomena above the parenthesis and the right of the parenthesis stays the same for these management system, for that matter, any other management system as well. And this is a pictorial view for a possible hierarchy for an integrated management system. So that's how the integration of the management system works. The above the parenthesis and the right of the parenthesis, these are the common elements in all the management systems, almost all of them. And like for example, if you're doing one internal audit, that internal audit you can do combined with quality for quality, environment, health and safety together. You can do one management review, which may combine the agenda points for all the quality, environment, health, and safety. So whichever standard you are working upon, you can do one of those elements and cover all the agenda points or all the requirements for the multiple management systems that you are trying to implement within your organization. So that was a brief about the integrated management system. I hope the information shared would be of benefit to you. If you have any question or comments, or if you like me to cover any other specific topics related to the ISO, you can put that into the comments area and I'll try to cover that for you. Till then, thank you very much for listening till I upload my next video. Thank you.